Hi students, I'm going to talk to you about the production meeting process. This is really important to follow along, so please follow along and then ask me questions if something is not clear or you need some more information. So you'll see that we're in presentation mode. If you're a student, you click study mode and your course content will look like this. Note that we are in week 40.3 production meeting 1. The very first slide, you'll see that there are checkpoints. Week 40, 42, 44, those are your production meeting checkpoints. In week 45 and 46, you are compiling everything to process your film portfolio for final assessment. That will be done in week 47. There are no extensions. We cannot provide extensions, and you need to meet these deadlines and so that we can see your work, so we can authenticate your work. So please make sure that you follow the checkpoints. We have created a balanced IB Learner Profile, balanced schedule for you to follow. So keep that in mind. If your schedule gets, if your schedule gets a little crazy at a certain point, work ahead. That's all you got to do. But note that the final submission is in week 47. You click on that second slide and you'll see that there's course content and there's interactives. These interactives might appear as iframe components. Just click on the iframe component and it will appear. If you're using Chrome as a browser, you click on the iframe component and it will appear. If you're using Edge, it might load automatically where you don't have to click the iframe component. This is why we've told people to click the iframe component if you're using Chrome or use Edge for the best user experience. Some people are having issues with not being able to see the embedded video. This is because you got to use a browser that works in ManageBack and that you click the iframe component. That's why I sent that message at the very beginning of the school year, so that you know what to do when you come across a blank portion of screen that says iframe component. Okay, we're trying to help you out, right? But sometimes things get skipped or missed. But we need to make sure that you know what to do. But we also need you to follow directions when we give you information that's going to help you be successful. All right, at the very bottom, you'll see production meeting commentary. You, for production meeting 1, are going to create a one-page document that has your statement of filmmaker intent, a paragraph of inquiry, a paragraph of action, and a paragraph of a reflection, written and visual evidence within that document. Okay, so it's really important that you do this. No, this is not exactly the same as the pre-production stuff. So you're not going to just submit that again. This is you through your process. Your pre-production process was like, that was what you were doing to prepare. This is actually doing the process. All right, so you're going to showcase what you did to research, then how you employed your role in your intent, and then reflecting on how you did. If you click this FPA directions hot link, you're going to see this document. Now, this document will guide you through a one-chapter submission for IB assessment. So this is tailored precisely for your cohort, the May 2022 cohort, because the IB has made accommodations. So instead of a 3-chapter submission, you're just doing a 1-chapter submission. So if you look at this, you're going to see the Statement of Filmmaker Intent Guide. 4 sentences for Statement of Filmmaker Intent. Sentence 1, the name of your clip and the role you're adopting. Sentence 2, the creative filmmaker intent in that role. 3, sentence 3, whose work, technique, style, movement, genre, or approach are you inspired by? And sentence 4, what do you want your film or clip to achieve as a result of exploring your filmmaker intentions? 4 sentences, 4 items. Be specific. Don't add any more information or materials or anything. Stick to those 4 points, 4 sentences. That's it. Okay? We're telling you that this is a requirement. This will help you pass the FPA. If you go away from the statement of filmmaker intent breakdown that we have for you, you place yourself in danger of scoring a 1 or a 0 on your FPA. All right, so follow this. Okay, we've been doing it for over a year now. All right, there's an example there. There's some information here that will help you talk about like certain things dealing with inquiry, action, reflection, but there's also the production rules guide. Access that, follow that. Also, there's a visual evidence guide. Use that, follow that, apply it to your work. We have the rubrics here. I'm not going to go over them right now. Aim for excellent. If you get it, great. If you don't and you fall short, you're going to probably reach the good mark band. All right? Same thing with film reel. Aim for excellent. If you fall short, you're still in the good. All right? Obviously, 4 out of 4 is 100%. A 3 out of 4 is 75%. A 3 out of 5 is still a 6 out of 7 on the IB scale. All right? Because it's 75%, 81% is the threshold to reach a 4 or a 7, I should say. So, reach for 4. If you fall short, hopefully you'll get the 3. Also remember the AV originality policy. Anything that we see on screen, you created or your filmmaking team created. Your filmmaking team must be from your site school. It can't be from someone in college. It can't be a professional. It can't be somebody from a different school. It has to be from you or somebody from your site school. And everything that is related to your production role has to be done by you. 100%. No copyright free software. As far as like loops and those kind of things, no royalty free music, no video game footage, no TV or radio footage. None of that can be a part of this production. You got to create it yourself. Lastly, on this document, you'll see what an FPA 1 chapter submission looks like. Okay? So we're going to refer to this a number of times, but I will also tell you that if you click your files area, you're going to see some links. These links will tell you how to do each one of these things. Okay? So keep that in mind. All right? Now that we've done talking about the actual lesson and the lesson information and details, let's look at an actual PM1 submission. All right? So at the very top, we have IB Film Production Role Editor. All right? So I'm looking at the editor role. Clip 1, it's PM1. All right? And note there's the URL. All right? So I can click on that URL and I can watch the student's PM1 work. I am going to provide you with this file because the student has allowed you to look at the work. All right? So note that it is unlisted, not private, but unlisted. If you mark it private, I can't view it. If you mark it unlisted, nobody can see it unless you provide the link. All right? So this is an unlisted link. So if you click on this, you'll be able to see it. All right? Since you're submitting 40 to 60 seconds of footage, it might not be continuous footage. So if you have some footage that's assembled and then there's some missing footage, you'll see what this student did. They put in slides that state missing footage or missing audio to be placed here. That's fine because this is the first production meeting. This is not a final production meeting or final submission. So look at what the student did to address, or sequence things that included missing footage. All right. As far as the commentary is concerned, this is not perfect, but it's a pretty solid PM1 piece. Notice there's a statement of filmmaker first, and if you want to compare her statement of filmmaker intent to the example or the template that we asked you to follow. It follows it fairly well. She didn't title her film here, right? But she does say that, she's including montage, so that's the element. She's mentioned her inspiration, and she's mentioned her purpose. So she has touched on all four. I would just say she needs to be a little bit more specific with that. Okay, and that's the feedback I would give her, and that's the type of feedback I would give you when you submit your production meeting materials. That way you can go back and you can fix it and you can make those adjustments. All right. Inquiry. She has the inquiry section here. Now the inquiry has to do with her research and stuff. She did mention that she's going to be using montage. All right. So she is starting to talk about like where she's going to have to make transitions, and that she like the sequence is going to be a montage. So she studied theories of Eisenstein. Remember, we studied his work in week 8 in year 1. And that she wanted to create an intellectual montage. Now, intellectual montage is a specific type of montage. And you learned about intellectual montage back in that week 8, week 9 period of time, right? So that's a specific type of montage, and we see a visual representation of intellectual montage. Now, she doesn't have the images in there, so that's what I would like to see. Whether they're images or storyboards of that would be great. Okay. She also mentioned that she used an article. Having a quote from that article would be really good. Okay. And the examples, right, in figure 1, she was missing those images. So again, if there's images or those images then influence your storyboarding, perfect. Okay. Incorporate that, because now we're going to start seeing your process. Then there's action, her actually employing, her role with her intent and her influence and her her goal, right? So she's going to talk about this. We see some evidence from the inspirational film, and then also, screenshots from the student work. We also see some screenshots of her work as an editor in the NLE, so that she's talking about that transition. She discusses that specific transition where it's a masked transition, like a person walks by and it's like it serves like a masked wipe transition. So that's if you watch the video, you'll see what she's talking about there. So this is okay. I would say, again, more detailed. But hopefully you're starting to see like what the purpose is of action and what's expected. Finally, the reflection, that's looking at your role, your intent, the elements that you're incorporating, and taking a hard look at how you are doing things, and maybe how you problem solve, if your approach was successful, if it needs to be tweaked in some way, if so, how are you going to solve that problem, or how are you going to tweak it? That kind of information needs to go in the reflection. Finally, there's a list of sources. Notice we have the list of sources. First of all, it's in MLA format. It's alphabetized by source. We have the film influence. We have theory, right? The essay. We have a critique, and it was an electronic source, so we don't just have the article information, but we have the electronic URL. We have another article on intellectual montage, and then we actually have, since she talked about that masked wipe, we see a tutorial there. All right, 5 sources for a production meeting. 1 is a really good. That's a really good number. All right, you probably don't want to be short or smaller than 5 in your list. All right, so keep that all in mind. Again, if you're having like some additional questions, you can contact me, but I would suggest you go to the files and check out those links as well. All right. enjoy. Break a leg.